Hello. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the party. How you doing today? Yeah?
Good. How you doing?
Great, doing great.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. So right now we're going live on Facebook. We are also adding this to our to a couple different marketplaces right now. I have Shamin's permission to put this on Mobile Home Academy, which is really exciting. So we get a lot of questions about mobile homes and mobile home investing and how to work with transporters, marketing, things like that. So I want you guys to actually see what we're doing, and I want them to know what we're doing as well. So here we go. I think I'm also live here. Let's double check. Fabulous. All right, guys, go ahead and come join us on the party. You can come on over to Investor Party and join us on Zoom, ask your questions. We'll be here to help you with our dear guest today, Jose Garcia. We're expecting other people to pop on here in a second. So here we are. Boom. Here we go. Admit. Fabulous. Okay, guys, welcome. Now, there are going to be some people that come in as we go, but I wanted to make sure we get going as we typically do by starting off with a check-in. So we have been quarantined for 14,000 years at this point. When I started this quarantine, I had an infant. Now she's a grandfather. She's a grandfather, whatever, let it go. So it's been forever in here. She's also a goldfish. So let's see how you are doing. How are you guys holding up with this quarantine? Michael, Max, Carlos, since you're the only one that's not hiding.
Kind of back to work as normal, so
Yeah.
not too different here anymore. So
And where are you at again?
San Jose.
San Jose. I keep forgetting how many of you guys are from California. I'm like, oh my dear gosh. So, well, so things are kind of back to normal where you guys are.
Yeah. I go into work every day like normal. So
Okay. Well, how's Ella doing? Is she holding up okay?
good. She's getting babysitting jobs again too. So
Okay,
that's why
good.
she's not here right now. So she'll have to watch the recording.
Well, she'll enjoy it. We got a good one for you guys today. I'm so excited. Okay. Nelson will be here in a minute. I'm sure he's getting something to eat. Michael, how you doing, honey? We'll come back to you. Carlos, how are you doing?
Doing good. Doing good.
Yeah.
Excited to be here.
Mm-hmm. Did you enjoy when we talked about mobile homes last time?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Most people don't know to even consider it as an asset class to invest in. So what did you like about it that you remember?
How you can get into it with very little,
Mm-hmm.
and you can like have residual income, passive income.
Yeah. It's got a much lower barrier to entry, and the velocity of how fast it can grow is really cool. So we're going to talk about that more today too. Michael's probably still hiding, so we're going to see what's going on there. And we have a lot more people watching on, oh good, they are starting to watch, fabulous. Well, welcome Facebookers, how you doing? Okay, so let's go ahead and get this moving because I want to see what you guys think about mobile homes and what we can learn. And we are going to learn from Mr. Jose Garcia. How are you doing? Good looking.
Jacob, hey, thank you for having me. Doing great. Just be happy to be here.
I love looking right here at your background. Like nothing, there is no question in my mind what you do. Like clearly. What do you think he does here, Michael? Michael's like, yeah, I guess so. Where we look at Michael's background and we think blue picnic tablecloth. Yeah, that's what we're going for over there. It's working beautifully. Yeah, very, very festive right now. We got red, white, and blue, and it's right, perfect. Independence Day is coming. Love it. Are you guys doing anything for Independence Day? No? We can't really do anything.
Well, my husband is away anyway, so. The 4th of July is our 17-year anniversary.
Oh my God, happy anniversary.
Yeah.
17 years?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Right now, my longest relationship is with a gallon of milk. It's now good cheese. So, just so you know.
Oh, well, yum.
I can't eat it, then I would be single again. Anyway, it's a big problem. Hello, Liz. How are you? She's staring at the camera. Hi, honey. How are you and Hector?
We're good. We're on our way to Vegas. We're driving, so.
Oh, well, I'm so glad. we're going to Vegas. I only feel this bad for you right now. Like, that's all. They're now open for business. You can go to the casinos, but the shows aren't open yet. So, but good thing you can smoke and gamble. So there are those two things. Just make sure your kids are, just hide the alcohol for them.
Yes, definitely.
Are you
We
going
can drink
to
a lot. We're just leaving Arizona right now because we were supposed to leave on Monday. We were supposed to leave Arizona back to California, and then we said, nah, never mind. We'll just do a road trip to Vegas, and then Vegas.
Just make it all the way to Florida. Go to Vegas to Florida. It's a good time. Just to make a stop somewhere in Nashville, get some barbecue, see some country music, whatever. I don't know if they still are playing, but I'm sure there's something there. Yeah, you're on the road, we can tell. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start moving this over to Mr. Jose Garcia. Now, I've known Jose for a few years now. Jose, when did we meet?
Don't tempt us, Hector said.
Don't tempt us. Dude, it's totally fine. I mean, we can't do anything down here yet, but come, unless you're in Jacksonville, they don't seem to listen to anybody. Those crazy knuckleheads up there. But, the rest of us are kind of just pushing through. Michael, is your side open? Yeah? Okay, lucky.
For the most, restaurants and things like that, but they're closing the bars and gyms and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the gym's now closed.
But the beaches are still open. They closed them in Collier. And so now they're worried that all the people for 4th of July from Collier are going to come up and jam-pack the Fort Myers beaches.
That's probably going to happen, yeah. They closed all the beaches here in the Tri-County area for 4th of July. So we can't do anything, which means I will be finding another way to enjoy myself. Nothing to say with that. Okay, so Jose, back to the question I asked you originally. How long ago did you and I meet? I don't remember. It's just been a while.
Yes, I don't recall exactly, but it was a symposium. I want to say Orlando about 3 years ago.
That sounds about right. Yeah. And you started your investing journey, 2017?
Yes.
Yeah. Had you done any investing before then?
No.
No. Okay. So you were brand new. You were virgin. Yeah. I look at you and I think pure white and just innocent, and you are so damn tan right now. I can't believe it. He fell asleep outside by the pool again.
Twice at the beach. Twice
at the beach. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. It's like, whew. Usually he's like Carlos's color. Now he's like, well, that. So good times. He's also getting ready for a bodybuilding competition this weekend, which we are super excited about.
Yes.
Next week?
Yeah, 11.
Whatever. He's working hard. And what I love about his posts is he talks about his coaches that he uses. He's still getting coaching. He's still getting training. He's very disciplined in what he approaches, and he goes all in for it, which is something you have to have as you're getting into your investing and making things move. So he started 3 years ago. And tell us how your investment started. How did that start for you?
Well, I wanted to get into real estate, the typical flipping, rehab, holding, that sort of thing. And bottom line is I didn't have enough money to buy real estate. A lot of my mobile home investors had the same problem. So I didn't know connections. I didn't know network. It was kind of do-it-yourself kind of thing. And I kind of just stumbled on mobile homes. It came as a suggestion, and I started looking into it. So I realized I can afford a mobile home, at least to get started, and just kind of jump on it. I did not take education prior, but I wish I would have.
You did not take education on mobile homes or on investing yet?
I hadn't taken any. It wasn't until I did my first deal. And then I started saying, I need some type of education, found Legacy.
So for those of you who don't know, that was a company that I used to work for. That's how I know most of the investors I do know is through an actual education platform. And something that's really cool about when you actually join a community is you start doing deals together and you support each other. That's how you kind of, otherwise, if you're not in a community, people tend to push you down and say negative things or think it's crazy or whatever. What are some of the things you heard when you started investing, Jose? Like, what were some of the positive and negative things you heard from your circle?
From Legacy itself, or just anybody around me?
Anybody around you.
Anybody around me, no positive, all negative. Don't do it.
All negative, don't do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, et cetera, et cetera. And like many things, I like to try anyway. So let I do.
So you went forward. So in spite of everybody telling you no, 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 you went forward and did something. You took a chance.
I did. Mm-hmm.
And when did it pay off?
After the first mobile home I sold, I ended up having to rehab it for the most part myself, put it in the market, of course, every day, even though it's not as much money into it, you know, less the risk, but it's still like those headaches you get, that stress, those nightmares. Who's going to want this kind of thing? A question, I guess, the same old stigma. But it did. As soon as I was done, I put it on the market, a little almost shy about it, you know, mobile homes kind of thing, new to it. 2 weeks later, I had a buyer who was happy to take it. So I thought I was done because I was like, you know what, let me just sell this and this ain't for me. But when I sold it, it just, something felt good. I guess it was almost like a give back in a way. So I just said, well, let me get on my next one and next one. And it's just been from there.
You know, that's actually so important. And that's what I hopefully people are starting to see. It feels good to do something. Like it feels, especially today, it's so easy for us to get stuck in despair and loss. But if you go out there and you're trying to do something to make other people better or to improve your community, it just recharges you. And even when you're just creating a safe space for someone to call home, that's a big deal. I mean, that's where people find security. That's where they're trapped right now, right? So if you provide a safe place for them to live, no matter what it is, it's golden. So I think that's fantastic. So you've done, how many deals have you done now? How many wholesale mobile home deals have you done versus flips?
Wholesale, probably over 200.
You've wholesaled over 200 mobile homes.
Mm-hmm. In the whole time, yes.
In 3 years?
4 years.
4 years.
Yeah.
So you guys started, oh, that's right, you started with
60, in a 60, yes. And more so now, wholesaling has been big. My goal is a mobile home park. I think most of us here is. So it's kind of one of those, you know, get funds down, get ready whenever that opportunity. So I figured, let me start wholesaling a lot more. So it's been right around 200 that I've done, I think. Rent to owns, I started with rentals and I had a total of 10. I didn't care for the landlord status kind of thing, just too much, not bad tenants, just a lot of needy. and I didn't care for, so it seemed like the calls always come at the worst time. You're always doing something and hey, my toilet's leaking or something. So I was like, yeah, this is not for me. So we moved over to rent to own. So we finance them now. We sell them and create a note and, you know, it's your home, you take care of it kind of thing.
So rent to own is the common expression for people that are doing a lease with the option to purchase in residential real estate. Now, some of the things that are big differences between stick brick homes, single family homes, and mobile homes are traditional real estate is considered real property. Mobile homes are considered personal property. So they're taxed differently. They're looked at differently. Mobile homes are considered to be part of the Department of Motor Vehicles. So when you actually close on a mobile home, you close at the DMV. What is that process like, Jose, and as you go through it? Can you actually, let's do this. Can you walk us through how you acquire a mobile home all the way through closing?
Acquire one all the way to posting?
Closing, yes. Mm-hmm.
My number one to go to is social media, Facebook Market. I'm huge on that. I use a lot of other avenues, but Facebook Market is huge. And one of the reasons is people tend to share your interests. So they share and you get out there. But that's how I find my deals for the most part is off market. It's people who are trying to sell, may want to sell, but don't know who to call kind of thing. I post a lot of ads out there and I get calls in from that way. You know, you usually start with a virtual, send me some pictures, give me the whole information on it. I want to get the most criteria possible on it. That way I decipher if it's worth me taking a drive per se. I don't actually drive to every home. I don't have time for that. So once I get all the details, I run the numbers, run the market, depends on where it's at, look at the rental rates. If it's inside of a mobile home community park, I want to get all the details from that. Basically get all the information at hand. Once I have that, I decide, yes, I think this is something I can at least maybe negotiate on, start making calls to the owner and go from there.
That's fantastic. Okay, so you do it on Facebook Marketplace. Then you decide if you're going to go see the property. You work out the deal with the owner. Mm-hmm. And how much do you typically spend on your mobile homes?
I don't like to exceed $5,000.
That's all in, correct?
That's the home. That's the holding, material, labor, utilities, everything. I like to be 5,000, and I'm usually under 5,000. So yes.
So what condition are these homes in when you're getting them?
Some worse than others, like anything else, but usually no complete gut jobs, but some aren't far from it. It just depends. But a lot of the reason that, I'm able to keep my numbers low is, I use the same contractors. We have that understanding that we deliver a presentable job. We're not building an empire here. Materials is huge. Everything is getting even more costlier, with any home improvement store. So a lot of the material that we get actually comes from Facebook Market as well. So we're able to keep the costs low.
So those are some key things I want you guys to hear. What Jose is talking about is he has created a community. He's created a network, right? He uses the same contractors, so he builds that relationship. They know what he likes. He doesn't have to micromanage. So because of all of that, he's able to get his system down and it's more effective. Is that pretty succinct there, Jose?
Yes, and to add to that, do the same type of rehab for every home. Any material you have left over, you just take it to the next one and continue over and over. There's no ever excess waste.
That's a great point right there, actually. That's really great. If you're able to, if you know that you're going to be using the same type of laminate, and you also get discounts when you buy in bulk, right? So if you buy them in bulk, you have the savings, you do the same remodel in every home, that's quality. People, it's going to save you money. It's not wasteful. That's a very good green tip right there. What type of materials do you typically use in your remodels?
I like to stick with, and Home Depot, I actually have a commercial license with them. So, I'm able to get obviously discounts on that as well. But I mean, like I said, Facebook Market is huge. I'm able to find, sometimes many people are giving things free. I mean, a free toilet, there's nothing wrong with it. They just want it gone. Well, that's something we can clean up and use at our property. We got a free toilet or a free sink or a free cabinet, whatever. So we use a lot of those materials, but just, we try to keep it the same product with every home we do.
Okay. So when so let me see if I can ask this another way. Is there anything specific that makes your homes different, or is it because they are nicely generic that they sell so well?
Maybe a mixture. I mean, we do try to deliver a presentable. Obviously, we don't try to cut any corners, but I mean, material-wise, just what we can find out there for the best buck in a way. We keep it to, priority on keeping the expenses down for material for sure.
By the way, if you're trying to log in and you're having difficulty, I do not know why. My computer did crash. I think it started to open up Zoom on my computer. Interesting. No. Cancel. Anyway, the link is on Facebook. If you want to do it, look in the comment section. You can click there and come and join us, because I know it's a little tricky sometimes. I don't know why it does that. I might be pretty, but I'm not that smart. Speaking of pretty and smart, Jose, let's go back to you. So we were talking about your beard. We were talking about your mobile home process. What do you look for when you acquire a mobile home? What do you look at?
What I'll look at when I find a mobile home?
Yes.
Many things. I mean, one of the biggest things I like, to ask immediately for one is, do you have a title? That's going to definitely make it big, especially if it has to be moved. If there's no title, that's a done deal. So I don't care to carry the conversation any further. But, a title is huge. And getting that information, like I said, is get all the criteria possible up front. You don't want to have to keep calling these people back and forth, and I forgot to ask you how many bedrooms, how many baths, kind of thing. Get all the information up front. I ask them, and of course I don't trust them, but I like to ask is, how much work, or is there any immediate work, any immediate maintenance needed on the home? They'll tend to tell me, but if they say it's just a little hole on the floor, kitchen floor or something, I know maybe the whole floor's got to go. So, but I get an idea. One of the biggest things that I like to ask is electrical. Electrical is very expensive. If you have to get a licensed contractor to redo X amount or something. So certain questions I like to ask, how is the roof? How is the electrical? How is the plumbing? Okay, let's get cosmetics. How are the walls? Should they get painted? And just kind of break it down that way. Again, get all the information up front, and then I can decipher yes or no.
Okay, so that makes sense. I know that for one of the things we like to look at is, again, when you actually go to see the property. So you're talking about when you're talking to them on the phone, correct?
Yes.
At first, okay, that makes sense. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense for you to go drive out there. And so when you're acquiring these mobile homes and they're in various conditions of disrepair, because they are, if you're getting them at that price point, are you typically getting them from parks or getting them from private owners? Where do you typically look?
Well, I don't think it's the majority of them. But it used to be the majority was inside of parks. The ones we could keep. We're moving a lot of them now. So, they're coming from individuals. A lot of times people get a piece of property they buy and there happens to be a mobile home sitting there. So they call me and tell me, remove this thing from me, you can have it. I have the title in hand. So some of those deals come from there and we can take that from there into a park or another private property. Just depends. But calls are coming from everywhere.
Okay, so you're moving more mobile homes now. Let's talk about why. Why are you moving more mobile homes at the moment?
Supply and demand. But one of the services we offer is to park owners, park managers is if you have an empty pad, you're making no money, but instead you're paying. You're not in business of doing so. So if we have empty pads, let us bring you affordable housing into those pads and maximize your profit kind of thing. So we advertise that pretty good out there. So we get a lot of park owners that call us and let us know, hey, I have 20 empty pads in so-and-so. What kind of homes can you get me? So immediately I go to work. I know I have an order for 20 single wides per se, and I just start blasting Facebook, Craigslist, etc., and try to collect these homes wherever I can to bring them into this park.
Sorry about that. We had some technical difficulties. So so that's a great idea. You actually go and you talk to the park managers and the owners and say, okay, we can actually maximize your profits. So now they're looking at you as a partner, not just a landlord. Did you guys notice that as we talked about that? Yeah. So as you are looking at developing your investment business, this is the same thing if you're talking to real estate agents, if you're talking to brokers, if you're talking to title companies, if you're talking to people who have multifamily units. If you go into it as a business partner, it typically works out in your favor because it builds trust and credibility, right? Mm-hmm. So that's what Jose is saying. He's like, listen, he spoke in business terms. He's like, listen, if you have an empty lot, you're not making any money. Let us help you make money. We'll make money together. Very, very smart move there. Now, one of the things that I like that Jose and I were talking about is how he works with transporters and what a transporter is. So the role of a transporter is it's really just a contractor that has a big car, a big truck. They will load the mobile home onto the truck and they'll put it where you want it to go. They also help with re-leveling the mobile home. So if you got one that's got a foundation issue that's on, they've got the equipment to level it out. They typically use like a hydraulic leveler, like a water leveler, a digital water level, whatever you want to call it. They have just how they make sure everything's level. They can also help make sure you got permits. If you have a good transporter, they make sure that your permitting is correct, that they are up to code, that they're tied down properly or installed onto a foundation. So they have a lot of things that go in there. Transporters are often, not always, but often mobile home park owners as well, or they are like mobile home manufacturers. So there are a few different places for them, but some of them are just purely transporters. Now, Jose has had extensive experience with transporters, and I like how he describes them. So, Jose, don't hold back. Go. What do you think about mobile transporters?
Much like handyman and contractors, if you can find one, a good one, keep them. They're very hard to get a hold of. They're very hard to deal with it many times. It's just part of nature, I guess. I don't know. But when you find a good one you can work with, stick with them.
What are some of the secrets to actually having a good relationship with a transporter?
Staying connected, keeping them busy. I noticed that, obviously, like anybody else, if you don't call them for 2-3 months, they'll go away kind of thing. We move enough to where I let them know that, in this area, for instance, example, let's just say Atlanta area, I need one moved every other day or one every week or etc. You're gonna be my go-to guy. I'm not gonna look for anybody else. If you can provide me service, promptly, you will be the person I call every time I need one moved.
That's fantastic. Now, how many of them do you actually have on the line?
How many what?
How many transporters do you have in your database?
I like to keep at least one per area. Like Panama
Right.
City, we're doing a lot of business down there. We have a great gentleman, Jerry, I guess I can use his name, and he covers that whole area, about 50 to maximum of 100-mile radius where he can move them. So same here in Atlanta and anywhere else where we need them, we just, seek and find what we need.
That's fantastic. So again, it's regional. Transporters will only go up to a certain radius. So you want to make sure that's their territory and respect that territory, because if they're good, they'll be known and your reputations will grow together. So be very mindful, mind that relationship, but know that that's okay. He's got Jerry in Panama City, done. He's not going to go within a 100-mile radius. That's Jerry's territory. Now,
Well, keep in mind with
someone else. What was that?
Keep in mind with the movers, and I think this is mostly from what I talk to, is 50 miles and under is what they like to stick with. They'll go past that and they'll let you know. It usually gets pretty costly. I mean, after 50 miles, I've seen it up to $50 a mile above.
A mile.
So you don't want to have a mover 200 miles away coming to get your home anyway.
Yeah. So, but it doesn't seem like they're like in my area. We get a lot of questions about how to work with transporters. So I want to make sure people see this, and I'm a coach for a couple education groups. So when you do it, like everything else, guys, actually, I'm going to make this for you guys who are participating right now, also on Facebook, here in the chat room. How do you guys think you would find a transporter? Just think about it. Tell us. Either type in the chat box or unmute yourself. Let's see.
Google.
Oh my God, that is exactly the answer I was hoping someone would say, James. Yes, Google. If you're having a hard time figuring something out with people, it is the information age. Get on your computer and figure it the hell out and stop asking people for stupid things that you can Google. Sorry, that was my soapbox. I didn't think of answering the same question 15,000 times, guys. The answer is Google it. Yes, if you're trying to find a supplier of something, Google it. Now in my area, I
That's
only
the
have
answer for everything.
What was that, James?
I think that's the answer for everything.
It really is. Your hair is amazing. You're usually like a black green over here, but like that's not hair. How long have you been growing it?
I'm full video now. Full video.
A little bit. Well, I can imagine you blew dry.
Yeah.
That's why I work so have you ever invested in mobile homes, James?
I'm working on it right now in at like northern Arizona. I've been researching it. I grew up there, so it's I'm super familiar with the territory, the mobile home territory up there, and so I'm researching it. It's not really parks. It's more like little plots. I've got a couple offers on some stuff right now, but they're kind of like built in, some of them, like the offers that I have on some of them right now, they have garages already, and they kind of have infrastructure around them.
That's actually something that we should talk about as far as quality of mobile homes and mobile home parks. Jose, you are more familiar with this too, which I like, and we'll see how it relates to other parts of the country. I know Michael's invested in a couple mobile homes as well. It's very different in every market, right? So in areas, especially where Michael lives, there's a lot of 55 and older parks. Mm-hmm. So when you're dealing with that, you have a different clientele, right? And there are also different quality mobile home parks. Typically you have people who are on fixed income, but they want a nice quality of living. So there'll be nicer parks that have storage units, that might have private pools in the community, tennis courts, bocce ball, clubhouses, things like that, paved roads. Those are Class A parks. All right, those are the ones that are nice, everybody likes to live in. They feel so much like a park, they feel like a neighborhood, right? See where I'm going with that? Then you have other things all the way down. You got B and C level parks, and they have various levels of quality. So, Jose, what park caliber are you typically in? Are you typically in nicer parks, middle parks, lower parks? How do you typically work?
Ask me that question one more time on this part.
Where'd you go? There you
Can
are.
you hear me?
Yes. So what type of parks do you typically work in?
I think we're having
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're coming and going there.
Jose? Oh.
Hear me? You there?
I'm here.
Okay, there we go. One more time.
Okay, wonderful. So what type of parks do you typically work in? There are some private parks and public parks. Private parks are typically owned by a family, and then you have others that are owned by Wall Street. You have different quality of people in those parks. They're really more about the bottom line versus private parks, which are owned by families or individuals or small groups, and they try to take better care of it. It's just in a general sense of the term, not always, but generally. What type of parks do you like to work in, Jose?
All the above. I mean, I don't like to limit myself. You know, if I can come in and take a property, rehab it, get it out there on the market, and again, sell it to somebody offer financing, you know, I feel like I'm doing good anyway. So I don't limit myself. You know, if the numbers check out and I can do something in return, I'll take it on. Perfect.
Okay, so you're not picky. You'll work with anybody. Oh, so what else? So back to the transporters, because that was where we were before James and his great hair decided to interrupt the conversation. So yes, you Google who's working in your area, who's in that area, and what you want to do, right? That's important. Now, the next thing you do is you call them. You say, hey, you're a transporter. I work in mobile homes. Let's talk. Jose, how do your initial conversations typically go when you call a transporter?
Let them know who I am, where I'm doing business. If I'm calling them, I'm obviously looking in their market, so I'll let them know, you know, moving forward, I will most likely need some mobile homes transported, single wise, double wise, whatever. I like to always mention, you know, in the process, I know you're out there moving other people's homes, etc. If you know anybody looking to sell, here's my card. Give me a call. So more than one way to network with them.
So is that any different than what you guys would do in any other form of networking? Anybody?
What was the question?
Is that different from any other form of networking that you guys would do? Is that any question that you would, is there anything you wouldn't ask? I mean, doesn't that sound like something you would already do when you're talking to a realtor or you're interviewing a lawyer or you're even talking to like a nanny? You just ask questions that you need to know, right?
Right, yeah.
So for those of you looking for a script on how to talk to transporters, get over it. Make a conversation. They're human. Figure it out, all right? The biggest thing about it is you want to build relationships and you want to build rapport, okay? It doesn't have to happen overnight. They may not give you a deal right away. You've got to build that trust. They got to know that you're not pulling their chain. And they're probably going to give you a call in a couple of months after you've been on their assets and see what goes on. One of my favorite things to do is after I talk to somebody, no matter who they are, transporter, or even in my luxury business, send them a thank you card. Because no one gets that. You send them a thank you card and they're like, oh, okay. And they'll probably keep that because it's not a bill, for crying out loud. So that helps. Robin is asking, what type of park do you usually know? That weird, that wasn't my answer. Never mind. So I guess it wasn't a question. He will work with anyone. He's already discovered that. He's also on every street corner. Anyway, so let's continue from that. You have the ability to share your screen now, Jose. Do you want to show us how you actually go about acquiring mobile homes from social media and how you sell things?
Sure do. Let me.
All right. Pull it on up there, Big Daddy.
Okay, let me.
What I want you guys to see is that a lot of this is much more simple than if you think too much. Don't overthink this stuff. Just go do it and figure it out. You're not going to hurt yourself by asking questions.
All right, everybody see my
We have a
screen?
question for you right here, which I like from Michael. What is the typical pricing for a transporter in your area?
It depends on the size of the home. Usually single wides, 50 miles and under, you tend to pay at least $3,000. Think double wide, double the cost. Okay, everybody see my screen right here?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Your web pages, you only have like 5 tabs open. I've got like 50. Wow, I feel very, I can breathe when I see yours.
All right, so I usually go to groups and click on that, of course. But on here, you know, you have the groups that you have added. So one thing that I also do is I'm constantly adding new groups. I like to pick, you know, I'm covering 5 different states, so different cities, different counties. If I can find a group that I can do business with or post my ads on, that's what I want to do. So here's a list of my pages here. So I'll pick one, for instance, one of these that I've already added. once I'm in that page, I like to go to discussion, and it does take time. This is one by one. So every morning, 30, 45 minutes, this is what I'm doing every morning. But basically click on their discussion. If you sell something and you start posting, looking to buy mobile homes, etc., you're going to get flagged and removed. So don't do that. Stick to discussion. You're simply putting a little chat in the page, if you will. Once I get onto that, what's on my mind.
Hey, Jose, we're not seeing it. All we see is the Zoom page.
Yeah, I was thinking it was just me. But the Zoom page is very attractive.
How about now?
It's just a big white screen. I look like I'm glowing. It matches my shirt.
Nope, not yet.
No, still nothing? Okay. Have you, when you hit your share screen, did you hit your browser? Or did you just hit the Zoom thing?
Let me see what it's doing. That's what it is. How about now?
We see that now.
There we go.
Okay,
Thank
let's
you.
go over real quick. So again, go to your group page, and the only groups that you have are the ones that you've added. So make sure you add plenty. Every city, county, state, you should be adding groups to wherever you're working with anyway. The same groups that are there, obviously, are going to be the ones you can post on later on. So that's what I do is I pick different days and go in there every morning and just post. I'm going to just pick one at random here. So Gainesville, Florida.
Okay.
Click on the page there. Once you are there, you scroll down. Like I was saying, don't sell. Unless you're selling something, I wouldn't suggest doing sell something. When you put looking to buy mobile homes, any condition, etc., here, you're going to get flagged and removed. So there goes your group. Don't do that. Stick to discussions. Okay, you're basically posting a little post on their page and nothing more. So once you click on discussions, this pops up to what's on your mind, where I put something very simple.
Oh my, that's
Just like that.
complicated.
And post it.
Make it hard. Make it hard, Jose. Come on.
And from here, I will get comment after comment. I'll get some people to message me, etc. But this is where my leads come from right here. This is the biggest source I use. And this here, I might get some hits on here in a few minutes, but I do the same thing every day. I go in here and I just pick about 15 to 20 pages usually, and just, go in there and just post the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm. And then you get notifications on your phone if you're away from your computer that says, oh, who's made a comment? You can stay on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. That's fantastic. So super simple, not complicated. The same thing you would do anyway if you were doing things like selling a garage sale or a book or anything like that, right? A car online, things like that. So he's able to do this under discussions, and he does it in multiple pages and in multiple markets. So how many mobile homes do you typically purchase? A month or week, whatever, quarter?
I like the wholesale at least 3 a week if I can. Lock them up and, just different numbers every week. Like anything else, I may get a deal, but it does end up not being a deal or whatever. But I like to at least wholesale at the end of the week 3.
I can't now. So you like to wholesale at least 3, and what's your average profit margin on a wholesale deal?
Anywhere from 1,000 to 3,000, maybe more sometimes. Just depends on the deal.
So you're trying to make anywhere between $3,000 to $9,000 a week.
Give or take, or more.
Not so bad, huh? So anybody else complaining about that? Because there are 52 weeks in a year. So you guys do the math. Now, how many of those do you actually keep to flip?
None right now, because again, I am working on building my pocket capital to when I do approach a mobile home park I finance. I like to pay cash, if you will, but every now and then, like now, I had 2 that I was looking to wholesale down in Lake City, Florida, and the more I look at them, the more I like them, so I'm thinking I'm going to keep those. So gut feel, if one of them feels like I should keep this one for myself and just rent to own, go and rehab it, flip it, I'll do it.
There you go. Much easier. And it's funny because I'm actually going up probably next weekend, I think, to look at a mobile home park in Flagler Beach that is for sale. It's not that big. It's about 38 units, 38 pads, and we're going to see what we can do. It's a fantastic deal right now. It really is. But they're willing to sell or finance it. So it's roughly 1.3 million. He's going to help us carry the note. We'll put down a down payment, which is actually looking pretty reasonable, and we're going to then take it and the cash flow is going to be fantastic. Now, that is another way of doing it. Now, for those of you who are just getting into this, what I want you to understand is it's better for you to know one thing. Do it well, become a master at it. Jose is a master at acquisition of mobile homes and how to work mobile homes. And because of that, he understands the people that live in mobile homes. So there's a big part there. And because he started with that, he also knows some of the headaches and the stresses and the nuances behind owning the park, because he deals with the owners and the managers and things that go like that, right? So now he's ready to level up into owning parks. Now, I've done enough with mobile homes, and then I moved into notes with mobile homes, and now I'm moving into parks. But you have to start by understanding the asset class and the nuances in that asset class. Don't rush. When people I love Shamin Van Gundy, who's the queen of mobile homes, love her to death. She has a saying, she's like, you want to wait at least 2 years of investing in mobile homes before you try to get into a park, because that's how a lot of people lose everything. They don't understand it enough. There's plenty of ways to make money in real estate and diversify and doing things safely if you have a plan. So make sure you talk to someone who's wiser and smarter than you and come up with a game plan so you don't hurt yourself too soon. Now, you can be, and this is something I do like, you can be a shareholder in a mobile home park. So if you wanted to go and be a member of an LLC, for example, and you bring in capital for it and you get like a dividend, but you're a passive investor before 2 years, I think that's great. I think that gives you a lot of learning curve. It mitigates your risk. It helps you learn things a little bit better. It just makes a smarter investor out of you. But if you are trying to just go right in and buy a mobile home park, well, you've been warned. So, Jose, how long does it typically take you to find a mobile home, get under contract, rehab it, and then sell it to a tenant buyer?
I like to be in and out by 4 weeks max.
4 weeks max. And what's your average carrying cost?
Average carry, usually a month. I mean, you got the lot rent, utilities, everything. Still under the 5,000 overall.
That's incredible. So how much do you typically sell your mobile homes for? You're all in 5,000, including your hard costs and your soft costs, and you sell it, and you sell them for how much typically?
In my market, I can get anywhere from 20 to 25,000.
Did you guys hear that? All right, Carlos, I'm gonna put you guys on gallery view. I want to see your faces right now because we're gonna do some math, y'all. Ready? This is not my strong suit, and I definitely left my phone somewhere else. Michael, you're doing the math. Get your calculator up, boo-boo. There you go. Yeah, I use him. He's smarter than me. We know this. He's the brains, I'm the beauty. So what I need you to do, we pull out $25,000. You subtract the 5,000 that you're in. That leaves you how much profit?
20,000.
Oh my God. Now, this is the cool part. What Jose is doing is he's creating a lease with the option to purchase, or he's doing a rent to own from these mobile homes. Why is that better? You get less meth heads, okay? If I can say that. You get higher quality people living in these mobile homes, typically. Jose, how much do they put down when they buy a $25,000 mobile home?
I like at least half of what I got in it. I mean, anywhere from 2,500 to 3,000. I've had people put more than that. So if I can get 3/4 of my money up front, that's a good deal for me.
Oh, so now you're only in it for about 1,500 to 2,500 per mobile home, right?
Correct.
And then you're getting how much cash flow every month?
Again, depends on the part, but usually anywhere from 3 to 500. So
$300 to $500. And say you have, how many mobile homes do you have notes on roughly at any given time?
20 right now. So
So let's do that math. Michael, would you do me a favor? Would you multiply 20 by 3 to 500?
So 3 to 500?
Yeah, just say 300.
So 4?
Yeah. 20 times 3 is what? 6?
60. You don't need a calculator for that, dear.
Shut up. So he's making $6,000, right? Passive a month. Thank you.
A month.
Listen,
Yes. Yes.
Carlos will understand. He's the only one that gets this. I was a dancer for 18 years. I only had to count to 8, and then I repeated it over and over and over again, and sometimes only to 6. So you got to give me a second when it comes to multiplication, all right? I don't do spreadsheets. I don't do Excel. I barely know how to do a word processor, for crying out loud. And I can count to 8 like a damn champion. So you got to cha-cha. You want to laugh at me for understanding how to use a calculator. So he's making anywhere between 6 to, hold on, 5 times 3, that's 15,000 a month, roughly. He's making somewhere in that range. I'm not going to tell you what he's making because that's none of your business. It's none of mine either. But if you were making that passively a month, and that's a cash flow strategy, would that change your life, guys? Yeah? Okay, I've got some people nodding their heads. You can say yes, right? You can unmute yourself. You could use the chat box. You could interact. It's kind of nice to have people around. I'm just.
That would make some changes, yes.
Okay, that would make some changes. Thank you, James.
Definitely.
Helpful. Yeah, thank you, Carlos. Wonderful. It's amazing what your space bar will do. It'll take you right off of mute. It's great. Yeah. So, so if you're doing that, that's awesome. Now he has created these notes. He's got this value. What I used to do is I would take a note bundle and I would sell them to investors and I would take a spread. That's what I would do. That was my strategy. Now, and Jose and I have started playing with that together a little bit now. So once you have that experience, if you have those properties under contract, well, guess what? If you had, so let's also do this math. You ready, Michael? So we're going to say 1,500. Say 1,500. That's how much he has left in the deals. Times 20.
Mm-hmm.
That's
30,000.
30,000. He's got $30,000 invested still. All right. He's making between $6,000 to $15,000 a month. So let's say 10,000 to be easy. So how many months does he need to make up what he's got invested? 6, right? So now he's made all of his money back over 20 properties, right? He's made all of his money back. Now his return is infinite. See how cool that is? And the coolest part is the more mobile homes he buys, the less time it takes him to get all of his money back. That's kind of cool, right? So that's what you want to start seeing. He's diversified. Now, if you're doing 20 mobile homes, you're into them for about 5,000 each. You only have, so 5,000 times 2 is, wait, 100,000?
100. Yes.
Thank you. So can you guys buy 20 houses with $100,000 in your market? No? Oh, okay. I call that diversification. If you can buy a house in our market, which is parts of Riviera Beach for 100,000, which, you know, Pamela, she's rolling her eyes. I love you for that. Thank you. If you buy a property there, you're lucky to get a cash flow of about $300 a month, right? It might be Section 8, but you might get $300 a month. Why is that different? Well, it was the same $100 that you used to buy that house that Jose used to buy 20 mobile homes. And he started doing that by flipping the homes, by wholesaling and getting the contracts. So do you see how this is a faster cash flowing strategy? Yes? So when you want to know where you are in your portfolio, does it make sense to buy these mobile homes versus these single family homes? It depends where you are. Everybody's different. There are other tax advantages to owning single family homes than there are mobile homes. But if you're not making the passive income for it, you should probably stick with an asset that brings in cash flow as much as you can. What are some other assets that bring in a lot of cash flow, guys? What do you think they are? Anyone? Bueller? Bueller. I can see all of you. Yeah.
Laundromats.
Laundromats. Wonderful cash business. Fantastic. Yes, they're very good. I'm surprised you said laundromats. Yes. And by the way, if you get a mobile home park and you put a laundromat on it, huge value add. Huge value add. What about RVs? Yeah, have you guys thought about that? Jose, have you ever done anything with an RV?
Wholesale a couple campers, but nothing more than that.
They are the equivalent of the Airbnb of the mobile home world. They are the most headache, require the most maintenance. You need the most property management for it. You got to have some there to hook things up and flush things out and blah, blah, blah. It is a pain in the assets, but they make great cash flow. Okay, they really do. But you want to know like what you're getting into. I think it was last year, I sent Shannon a mobile home park / RV park that was a nudist colony. We were looking at buying that. It was really very funny. It sold before we got to it. But yeah, that
Just
was a
to
fun deal.
clarify, so you're saying RVs that are parked in a space in a park?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
There are actual RV parks as well. But if you have like a campground, which by the way is another great asset class, that's a legacy cash flow strategy high. You have the ability to do that.
Right.
But because the infrastructure is expensive. But RVs themselves, as Jose was saying, he wholesaled the campers, they are quite attractive to people. Jose, tell us about those 2 camper deals you did.
I actually found them at a title farm. I thought I wanted them and was going to treat them the same way. I did find a park that would keep them longer than the 3 months or whatever. You can only keep a camper on the lot. So I thought, well, if I can get one of these over there and just rehab it and again treat it, rent the home, maybe it'll work out. But it just became a headache. I didn't have the truck to go get one or the other. You know what? But I basically agreed with them. I will sell it off for you. So it became a wholesale for me.
And what was your average profit margin on those?
Not much. It was like 500 on one and 300 on the other one. So
it's not so he can find better uses of his time, right? But the deal was there, he did it. So that's perfect. So hopefully this was more helpful for you guys. Do you guys have any questions for Jose? I think he's done a very good job of explaining things, but I'm sure. Go on, Robin, you have a question?
I do, yeah. Hi. So I'm sorry because I tried to get into Zoom and I was having some technical difficulties, so maybe you covered this, but just to make sure. So you're assigning them, you're assigning the mobile homes, you're all in 5,000, but you're then also keeping them. Am I understanding your strategy correctly?
no. So one is hold and the other one is wholesale. Wholesale, I don't have any money into it. I just play the middleman. The $5,000 ones are the ones I decide to keep and actually do a full rehab and put them out there on the market.
Okay. So you do you stay within $5,000 even for your assigned, the ones that you wholesale? Or
No,
just-
the ones I wholesale, I make anywhere from 1,000 to 3,000 or a little bit more. It just depends on the deal.
And do you go higher than the 5,000? Like, would you do a $15,000 one that might be worth 25,000, or do you strictly stay within the 5,000?
I like my number. It's worked for me for a long time, so I like to have 5,000 or under, and I'm comfortable that way.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Now, keep in mind, that's in his market. So the markets that, Jose, what markets are you in?
Yes, so that's mostly around Atlanta. I'm in Georgia, so I'm east of Atlanta, so that's within my area now. I have dipped into Florida and done a couple there, Tallahassee, Lake City, and the numbers are still similar. But yes, like Jacob says, some cities, county, state, they're going to be more, so something to keep in mind.
For those of you who are trying to figure out how do I buy a mobile home for $5,000, there are a few different ways of doing it. One is a credit card. Yes, I said it. If you have a good credit card with 0% interest and you're buying a mobile home, let's say it's for $10,000, fine, whatever. You write a check from your credit card, put it in the correct bank account, now it's liquid. You buy the mobile home using those funds. Okay, you just use credit. Was any of your own money? No. So now you use the credit card to buy the mobile home. So then when the cash flow comes in every month, guess who's paying that credit card bill? Oh, the investment you bought. Mm-hmm. So you use the mobile home, the cash flow from the mobile home, to pay off your credit card bill. Now, again, if your average profit margin is going to be $20,000 or so, depending on how much you finance it for, you bought it for 10, once that bill is paid and that credit card is paid off, all of that money is an infinite return. So it's just how you use what's accessible to you, all right? Another way is I like to get people who are new to investing and they're trying to test the waters, or if I don't know them yet and I want to make sure that we're going to have a good relationship, this is a much lower way of using their money. I will pay them a fixed return of about 10% or so, 8%, depending on what we negotiate on their money. Sometimes it's more, sometimes depending on how well I know them. And we'll put them into a deal together and we'll get to know each other, right? So then when I have another deal that has more capital or needs more to do, we've built that trust between each other so that you can use private investors for that. Is it easier for you guys to get $10,000 from a friend or family member who wants to invest with you, or 200,000? Which one's easier for you guys? Depends. We're all different, right? But that's one of the things you can consider. There are other things available to you, especially right now with COVID. They've done all these various things right now with retirement accounts, lending being expanded, with PPP, EIDL. All these new products have come out that you are able to leverage. Now, do it legally, do it smart, talk to professionals, but there are all these other sources of money out there right now that you can utilize. All right, so take a look at that. Anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, I have one. I'm curious. So when you do the lease option on the mobile home in the park, I mean, you must be looking for parks that have very low plot fees, right? Because that's a big factor too. That would rob from the cash flow, especially on the investment if you're doing a credit card or something. So how do you kind of calculate what parks to relocate to? I mean, you obviously have a list of like lower fees or whatever, but for instance, like in Palm Springs, there's areas of parks where you can buy the mobile home for $30,000, but the park fees $1,200 a month. You know, so like the mobile home itself is affordable, but then it's expensive to put it anywhere in that area.
I base it off what the rental rate is in that area. If I can charge, let's say 700 in that area, and I'm gonna do a rent to own, then I may be able to do 800 on that one. But if the lot rent is 500 or 600, then it's probably not a good deal to go in and do a rent to own. So I would just probably wholesale there. So I always base it off of that. But yeah, I try to find parks that have the lowest possible. I find out how long it's going to stay that low. I'm going to try to do a contract with them to see if they can keep me that low for the next couple of years or whatever. But yes, try to find those with the lowest.
So then if it's, thank you for that. And then if it's in a park that's higher, would you then consider transporting it, or would you just try to like keep it there and work it as a wholesale and like a different angle instead of trying to like move it to a different park? Or is that like too much hassle?
I'm gonna go ahead and share this. So when you have the ability to move them, the parks tend to work with you. The one thing a park does not want to do is lose a home. If they lose a home, they're going to lose all profits from that lot. So a lot of times, some of these parks that I do business with and I may be purchasing, I'll let them know I can't afford your 600 lot rate. Any way we can work on lower numbers? No, we cannot. Well, then I'm just going to move the home. That changes that way, but yes, that would be another option. Is if I cannot afford, maybe I started in a park where the home, the lot rent was lower, and then over a period of time it just escalated way too high. Yes, I would think, oh, it's time to go. We're going to find another park, but again, I'll start with the negotiation with the management and the owner first.
Got it. Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Fair enough. So that's actually something I'm glad you touched on. When you're doing something that is with a note, like you're doing some sort of seller financing option, you typically are taking higher than fair market rent because you're also taking on more risk, right? But you work the payments out to where they make sense for the buyer. Okay, so just like if you were to go buy a car, it's the same exact end process as buying a car, really. You sit down, you say, hey, Mr. McCusser, how much do you have to put down today on your new Lamborghini? And you're like, oh, I've got $1,000. Well, that's going to be a really high interest rate, but we'll work it out for your monthly payments. So you put down your money, and then we work backwards to say, okay, this is going to be your monthly payment, but your interest rate is going to be this. Now, there are some limits you got to work within because you have to be compliant with usury laws. You don't want to overcharge on interest. That will cause a red flag. I know some mobile home investors who they all get their money. They all get their money a different way. I know people who will have a lower price point, but they'll have a higher interest rate for a short amount of time. So they'll do like 15 or 18%, but they'll do it for 5 years, and that's fine. And I have other people who will have a 30-year mortgage, but it's a higher price, but it's a lower interest rate. So they're two very different business models. That's why I say it depends. For you, part of this, guys, and this is where people get scared when they start to invest, it's okay to not know everything. Go out there, try it, see what works best for you and your business model. And then what doesn't work, adapt. When you start actually investing, it's the most terrifying thing in the world, which is funny because as a kid, if you had ever done something like a lemonade stand or you tried selling newspapers, well, you've already been doing this stuff, right? It's not that hard. But if you jump into the abyss and you do this, you're going to find that you land on a feather bed. It's not so scary. So don't overthink it. And remember, this price point is low. So it might be high for some of you. You might be coming from a place where you have nothing, but guess what? That's not going to change until you do something different. So take a breath, trust yourself, and go out there and try it. Because if you fall, you don't have that far to fall anyway. But if it works out, guess what? You've learned something, and it'll keep working out. So just like Jose said, he started off with nothing, and he took those profits and he kept rolling them over to the next deal. Now he controls 20 mobile homes, making a very nice passive income. What's to complain about? Now, we want to make sure you're doing this in the right way as far as asset protection. We will talk more about how to do that through earned incomes and what corporations do versus C Corps, S Corps, LLCs, LPs, joint ventures. We'll work on all that coming up. We're hopefully going to have Don Pendleton coming back next week. So I'll let you know about that. Also, this Friday, we have Tim Sperry coming in, right? It is scary, Teresa. You're right. But Tim Sperry's coming in on Friday from Smog Armor Paint. What we're going to do with Smog Armor Paint is we've cut, right, Robin, Smog Armor Paint is the first paint that actually removes pollution from the air. It's something that will set you apart if you use it in the right way. So say you go and say you're remodeling a mobile home or any single family home, I'm doing a condo, and you take a paint that actually cleans the air. Does that make your property stand out against all the other properties on the market? It at least gets them to ask questions. And if they ask questions, are they going to talk to you? Yes. Does that develop trust and rapport? Yes. Does that develop credibility? Yes. So come learn more about that. We're going to be talking more about the importance of branding and how to build your team. It's amazing to see what he's done in the past like 18 months. It's been incredible, guys. So that's on Friday. Do not miss that. It's going to be amazing. You're going to love it. You guys had so many questions last time. I'm like, let's come back. Then after that, next week, we are going to have, at some point next week, I don't remember which day, we're going to try to have nonprofit advisors on. They're going to talk about how to do real estate and pair it with nonprofits, how that's working. I'm working with them right now to keep my nonprofit up and going. For those of you who don't know, I started my nonprofit to help house homeless LGBT young adults from the ages of 18 to 25. I started that process mid-January, got officially filed, or everything is starting to go in 2 weeks before COVID hit. And we've been having fun ever since. So it's just been a lot of fun. So they're going to talk about what their process is if you're interested in learning how to get into the nonprofit world, which has been amazing. It's amazing. I did not know you could do so much with real estate and having a nonprofit. So that's coming up hopefully next week. And then we're going to have Don Pendleton back on talking about asset protection, all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. Have you guys enjoyed this today? Yes? Let's give Jose a round of applause. You're
Thanks,
wonderful,
Jose.
my friend. I adore you. Thank you for stepping in last minute. I really do appreciate that.
Absolutely.
But we are going to have this again. We're going to have the replay on Investor Party. If you have not signed up to be part of the community, you can go to investorparty.com, sign up there, and you can get all of the videos that we've been doing. We're posting as many as I can upload at a time. They're there under the resource tab under Party Chatter Replays, or yeah, Party Chatter Replays. So go take a look there. And Jose, again, thank you so much. All right, guys, you are wonderful, and I will see. Oh, we didn't talk about this, Jose. Jose is going to be coming down to Florida in probably 2-ish weeks, depending on what COVID's doing. If you are interested in joining us, we are going to go and tour some mobile home parks. We're going to start looking at some mobile homes, and we're going to have a competition to see who can put a mobile home under contract first. If you would like to join us, please let me know. You can reach me on Investor Party and let me know what you guys would like to do. We are going to have limited space for that. So that being said, I will see you Friday. Enjoy the party.